Hello everybody and welcome to Stone Avoid. I'm your host Jay Phillips. Joining me as always every week, Don Bowie.
Hey.
Patrick Collins. This week we have the new artwork. That's the
box art.
Yeah, the new box art.
For the starter decks.
Which is the Italian versions that we saw online seem to come out this week. The only recognizable figure that I see on it is Feasting.
Mm-hmm. At least from the past.
Yeah.
And then we can also recognize that Milliam, this Grimm's son, apparently is on the white box.
Is that his name, Milliam?
It's something like I might be butchering the name very badly. But he looks like a little evil snow prince also, just like a Lapis.
Then there's a vampire dude.
He kind of looks like Papa Grimm. I don't know if that's coincidence or not.
I can see it. They both have like the weird...
They kind of have like weird facial hair and stuff. There's a vampire. There's some evil dragon lady.
Well, we know everything's going to be, and we've known for a while that these are all going to be unique rulers, unique to the starters only, and it's all going to be coming back to the Grimm
Universe.
Grimm Universe, which is the Lapis cluster. So we've known a lot of that stuff for a while now. But most importantly, and sorry to skip right to the point, the most important thing about seeing this art, seeing this box, is we're kind of getting a peek of what the card art looks like.
Yeah, what the cards look like without being full art.
Yes.
Correct? Because we're comparing these cards to what we can barely see to the promos of the goddesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can only see a sliver of the text box. I kind of think it looks kind of janky, but maybe that's not actually the even real picture.
So first off, if you look at it, deep inside like the weird triangle thing, there's a bar across. If you look at the Feastings thing, there's like a green bar, and then there's text.
And you see a mana symbol too.
Yeah.
And it kind of matches up.
The will symbol.
Right.
The full arts have a will symbol in that exact same spot as well. And then on the other side where the box kind of cuts off is the same place on the card as where the card typing is.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like that bar is going to be the card typing and will symbol. And then the text drops down below that. On the full art, all of those lines are gone, so it looks a lot cleaner. But this looks like it's definitely what we're going to be getting. I don't know how I like it with the lines in there.
I'm going to make sure by opening all 5 boxes, and then I'm going to play with the cards anyways, because I don't know. I've been super hyped for these decks. Very excited, no matter what store owner Jay says about how they have unique cards in them. I think that makes them even better.
Well, no, I'm so stoked about the unique cards and
yes.
like that. Like, I'm super down for more stuff coming in the format. I'm just talking about the artwork.
The artwork for right now. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just, I don't want to be like too harsh on it because we're literally seeing only like maybe 30 or 40% of the card. So I don't want to be too.
Well, we did see the full arts last week, which we talked about a lot last week.
But they are promos too, though. So they might be altered a little bit differently than a regular.
But you can like see the similarities.
Yeah. There definitely are similar comparisons.
So here's a quick little thing, because I'm going somewhere with this in total, is even if that isn't the artwork and that's just the promos, that means that they have yet another version of the cards. And so does this really mean that they're changing the game, artwork, and design too much, too fast, too early into the game? Is that the overarching thing that I really want to touch on? Do you think the game design is changing too much? Because we did have a weird little thing pop up where there's a player who's somewhat known in the community for... you were actually the one who brought this up.
Yes. Thanks for stealing my thunder and then giving it back to me. So apparently Matt Cosmore on the Facebook group, if you guys most likely know him, he's kind of like the main guy or at least the face of Six Ages Gaming. Mm-hmm. He does a great job of teaching people kind of meta decks or decks that can maybe even potentially fight against the meta. Sometimes they do quirky decks, like just fun, good ideas, that kind of thing. But, they do a very good job telling you what every card does, sideboard cards. And it's very surprising to hear him leave, especially just based off the fact of this card.
Well, he hasn't left though, right? Or has he already?
Not yet. It doesn't sound like, but he says he's planning on leaving. I think it sounds like it depends on what this final set looks like, and I'm talking about the Lapis first set, right. This first Lapis set coming out.
Right, and that is only one person's opinion, but I do think it's slightly valid. Is the game changing too rapidly for... Like, should there be a set aesthetic early on so that way people can get familiarized with how the game's going to be? Or do you think it's fine for them to experiment as much as needed early on?
As long as it's adding value, I think it's better early on. I mean, Magic tried to change its art style, in one of my favorite sets, actually. I think it was Time Spiral Future Sight. I forgot what the third one is. But in that they did a very I think almost the exact same thing as for like they had the mana, at least the mana symbol on the side rather than on the very top.
A very unique card look, which was very poorly received.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked it because there's more art on the card, and then like on all the vanilla creatures, they were full. All of them were full arts, so that made vanilla creatures kind of cool to look at. But back to the point, since that was so late, it was, as you said, very I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the word. Was it received?
Not well received.
It was not well received. Right. Sorry about that. I stuttered quite a bit. So by doing it early on, they rip off that Band-Aid very quickly, and they can potentially get a wider base of people the earlier they make these changes. But they can potentially lose quite a bit of their existing players if they change too much.
Right.
But that being said, they might be able to grab more people out there by making these changes sooner rather than later.
Okay. Well, before I get to you really quick, because I do want to know what you want to say, you also, in addition to me, we both have played Pokemon in the past. Yeah. You're a lot less than I. But Pokemon is a game that has a very dramatically different looking card style throughout the years. Mm-hmm. And that's something I'm very familiar with a few other TCGs constantly changing all the time. Does this bother you at all? You've played other games that change their borders. Is this anything to you?
I mean, I love the game. I'm still going to play it even if it changes, but it's just... I don't like it. I don't like change.
You don't like it?
It's too weird. I think it's unnecessary.
How did Pokemon affect you?
I stopped playing Pokemon when the border changed.
Really?
So, I don't know. I just like the classic cards better. Even now, they do have a sleeker look now that I look at it. But, like, once you're used to the set of cards and then going through that change, it's like it doesn't feel like the same game. Sometimes, even if it is, it just feels a bit different, you know?
Well, Pokemon does go back to their old card design all the time, so it is a weird example. It's just one of those things with the certain sets, they change it up and then they bring it back, and they change it up again and bring it back all the time. I don't know. It's I think a very important thing is what me and Patrick have said a long time ago is we'd play this game if it didn't have artwork.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the card design isn't important to me either.
But I mean, I guess the biggest part of this game is the art, because I hear so many people get into this game because of art. I think a lot of our viewers got into this game because of art.
That would actually be something I'd like you guys to comment down below so we have a bigger metric to work off of here, because a lot of our locals are kind of...
Almost all of us got in it because of the gameplay itself. I think the art attracted a few of you.
I mean, it helps, but...
It did not attract me one bit, because it started off with Vingolf.
Yeah, that wasn't a good set.
All of the bikini women.
It was terrible.
But I think from what I listened to, a lot of people's, I think a few of our viewers are actually like, this is their first TCG game, and I think the art attracted them. So, hurting the art could hurt the game for sure. I mean, it's not really hurting the art; it's hurting the borders. But obviously, that affects the art, at least to you, right?
It doesn't affect the art. The art is always going to be the same. It's just aesthetically, the differences that they're trying to make is what is affecting me the most. I mean, if I was introduced to
it's just the change, right?
It's just the change.
So if you were introduced right off the bat with these new cards, and we're up to this point, you would be fine with it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you started with.
I didn't know anything else. It's like, I want consistency in my games. just like Magic when they changed fonts, that was the only thing they did. Like it was a year ago back, and they changed fonts.
Yeah,
it was like a little J turned into like a point instead of like a thing. And it was just very small changes. I wish they did that instead of like, bam, something completely new. You know?
Yes, but this is still very early on in the game's life. Like we have to understand that we're practically beta testers for this game still. There's so many people out there that think this game is going to fail, like month to month. I think it is so exciting to be a part of this experience.
I mean, it's still in the precarious stages, right? It's like...
I feel this game has done nothing but grow since we brought it into the
It's still number 4. Like, they released it again, they're still number 4 after the last
And it's still outselling, pack-wise, every other game in my store. And we're a huge Magic store here.
Yeah, it's just we have a good community of people that...
Yeah, that's true. We're an odd sample size for that. But it's not... I don't think it's going to go away compared to other games that we've seen. You know, Cart Fight Vanguard, Buggy Fight, things like that. Those are somehow still gripping to life, and I don't even see them played locally. So to see a game thriving in a place where all these other games have already, you know, that are supposedly still here, come and gone.
But like HeroClix is still like one of the biggest things, and we never see that anywhere, right?
There's 2 reasons to that, and one reason is I hate HeroClix, so you don't see it in my store very often. The second part is you do see your HeroClix if you're looking for it. I sell HeroClix online. I don't sell them locally, and I don't foster community for them for I don't really know what reason. But it is out there. It's huge, and it's bigger in the middle of the States than out here in California. That's kind of one of those weird things where that game you can't judge on a California audience.
So we can't judge like Force of Will in our local cluster either, right? But yes, you can't necessarily. But if you think of California, if a game's thriving in California, it's thriving better than the rest of the U.S. because California is one of the 4th largest. If you broke it off and turned it into its own country, it would be one of the largest countries in the world. By population, California is massive. So to see it thriving in here is way different than seeing it thrive through the entire Midwest. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. I don't know. It feels good to be like Force of Will big here.
Yeah. I do get that a lot of people won't have a lot of like places where they can go play locally, but there's the digital game coming out soon, which is going to add a lot of players. And I think we have a lot to see from this game coming soon. I think it's going to do nothing but grow.
Okay. I mean, this game messes up a lot, but it also does so many things right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing I'm worried about is like the existing players are the players that are going to be building this community, and if Matt Cosmer, which is like the leading guy, and like other people like him, like the leaders of their community, fall off this game, like how are they going to make communities like still thriving?
Other people will always fill those shoes.
You think so?
We're not the only ones doing video podcasts. We're not the only ones. We weren't the ones to start it. There's people doing podcasts online.
Yeah, I mean, look how stubborn we are at keeping this podcast even going. I mean, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. But we are only, 200, 300 views on most of our videos.
Mm-hmm.
Very small community, but we would be doing this.
We want to promote this. Were you doing this to promote the game? Like,
I love talking about Force of Will every week. So, it's one of those things like somebody's always going to step up. Somebody's going to always be there. And the more bigger people step down, the more that we will fill those shoes. Eventually,
as long as there are people like us out there, there will always be someone helping this game out.
Yeah, I just hear like horror stories online about like communities falling apart more than communities growing and stuff like that.
I've heard both, but I think we've had this discussion before where we hear almost always the darker side of the stories way more often than we do the brighter side of the stories.
That's true.
Native people tend to shout the most.
Exactly. So, I mean, I definitely have talked to a few people, like, when they heard the AGPs were switching to Alice Cluster, their whole community...
that was terrible.
Their whole communities, went down. There's a lot of talk about MOA destroying a lot of communities just because stores got mad at the game itself for, being overstocked in MOA. And But, I mean, at the same time, like, this game is a very great game. It's a lot of fun. People enjoy the art. And then, I mean, and it's got a great community. At least so far it does. Like, it seems very open to new players. Sure, there's a few scallywags, but you're going to find those with any game you play.
Yeah. Well, to be in summary, though, the game is changing a lot really, really fast. For better or worse, depending on your outlook.
Yeah, picking for better, pick me for worse.
Yeah. I decided to do it opposite. I realized that. But we do have a lot of other stuff to talk about this week, so let's go ahead and move on to what you really want to talk about was the AGP.
Orlando, Kissimmee, Florida.
Kissimmee, Florida? I don't know. The deck list registration said Kissimmee, and Library Will said it like Orlando or something.
I think they're right next to each other.
Yeah, first place was a R&R Visa Melder deck.
Yep. Black Control, comboing out like Melder, Pay Your Life, get a Visa or something. Yeah, and only played 10 Resonators for each of those, and then 2 Executioners.
For people who don't know Melder off the top of their head, what does it do?
I believe you pay like, how much life? 1,000?
No, that's Riza. You're paying life.
Right.
Melder, you need to have 2,000 or less life. It comes into play -4/-4 target Resonator for each card with stealth on your side of the field.
Yeah, so you
and it's play 1,000 body?
Yeah, so you play Visa and then you find another Visa, I believe.
No.
You have to have
you want to have 2 Rizas out. You flip in response to the other one because you can only flip Riza if you have no Resonators.
Right.
So you have to respond to the other Riza flip. That's how you get 2 Rizas out at the same time. And that's how you get 2 Melders. And then you flip 2 Melders. Essentially, you're going to be killing definitely at least 2 things by that point with
that's
your
a
Melders.
-16, -16 for each.
If they come into play at the same time, yes. So you can kill the Golem that way by targeting it both times because... if people do not know, if something can't be destroyed by battle, you could still kill it with negative stats. I don't know exactly.
Minus to its
stats.
defense.
Yeah. If you put it down to 0, it dies.
This is a super hard deck to like interact with because this can happen instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can Riza out during their end step or whenever, like when their mana's tapped down, just bam, bam, I have 4 creatures, 2 of your creatures are dead, and just bam, swing for the game.
Yeah, exactly. You're not being the aggressive one, you're just like waiting and kind of just destroying whatever.
I could see that being really strong with if we were playing with Kaguya, the original one. So,
Kaguya 1.0.
So that deck there's a lot of decks I would love to have seen with being played competitively without a rotation.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like it would be way more brutal if you had a few more pieces to add to it.
So brutal.
I feel like that would be the only ruler from the past that would have any sort of a chance, though. Maybe Bahamut.
You can do that turn 1. Like if you Levitain, right?
What?
If you put one down turn 1,
and
then you
2
Levitain
Rizas.
to put down 2 Rizas, and then just play that on their turn.
That sounds
That's
gross.
a hell of a hand to draw.
Oh my god.
So gross.
Just use your Rizas, get out all your Croco sharks. That'd be great.
Yeah. But
so that was what took first. Was there anything else to be?
Second was very surprising. It was Necrolance.
Okay. I've seen that. I haven't seen that deck in a while. It seems pretty.
No, it's popping up everywhere.
It's been in every AGP. It just hasn't got as high as second. Yeah, I believe.
I think it might have gotten first. I think it got first in the beginning, just because in the beginning of every cluster and stuff, everyone plays aggro because you just don't know what the good control deck is.
Just play the best red stuff that hits.
And then
third was Machina. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was a Machina. So Machina combo is still doing great. I think there's about 3 or 2 list total in there. And then there was a few more Melder decks, and then there was
an R&R with
Control.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks and Lapricia. So it played, just good stuff.
Yeah, and there was a Shion Tom Hanks.
And then there's Shion Tom Hanks.
So I think the meta is like pretty diverse. Like you're seeing
every deck not coming up on any of these.
I don't know, it looks like a lot of black
sad.
to me, personally.
Yeah.
A lot of black.
There is a lot of black.
Black is really good right now.
It's really strong right now.
Solhunt's Lapis Control thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if these decks would have changed with dual stones or not. I don't know what.
Well, we have dual stones. By the time this video comes out, we'll either already have dual stones or be a day or two away from dual stones, which I think is going to be the biggest change to the upcoming meta. I can't think of anything else that would really be super effectful for current decks.
I mean, well, other than Lapis deck coming up, but you're talking about Vengolf, right?
Yeah, Vengolf.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Vengolf, I don't think there's anything game-changing in Vengolf. I think there's a lot of good sideboard cards.
Yeah,
but nothing that's gonna... I don't think any of those cards are gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is a staple, play it all the time. There are some good cards about Vengolf, but I mean, I would just buy them for the stones. I'm actually not even thinking about buying this Vengolf just because I already have all the stones.
I will buy the Vengolf set to complete my collection of cards. I will not be really buying it for any other reason.
Yeah, I think I might do the same. Just get a playset of everything, but it's
hard
justifying it because there's not much in there. We already have the dual stones.
Well, I think the dual stones are like great trade fodder, though.
They're so cheap though.
Are they cheap?
Stones are like $2.
They're like $2.
I don't know. That's still good trade fodder. $2 of value.
I think they'll drop again. I mean, this is the foil ones, things like that. That was the air conditioning just kicking on for all of you. Yeah, no, I don't know what. It's good for new players though in general. I'm super glad.
Vengolf, I mean, if you guys do not have the dual stones yet, I would recommend getting it just because the dual stones pretty much pay for the box itself.
Yeah,
and they're so valuable.
As long as it's not like last time Vengolf box came out and stores kept raising the prices of the boxes.
Yeah,
that was a little ridiculous.
Do you think this is gonna hurt stores because, like, people won't buy it?
No, I think people are still gonna buy it.
I think people will buy it.
People love the collector, just being collectors like you guys, and then super rare cards will definitely add some value. If someone finds some broken card in there, it might jump in value.
Because it's the only way to get it.
Yeah.
And you'll need to buy it for that one card.
New people need to buy it for the stones.
Yeah. And if it's anything like last time, Reddit completely said, everybody on Reddit would be like, what do I need to get into the game?
Yeah.
And it was like, buy the Vengolf box.
People would probably...
That's literally the first thing people shove down the new players' throat. They're immediately like, here's the Vengolf box. Eat it. Build a deck. Which I think is a valid thing. That is a great place to start.
When I got started, I bought two. I mean, I didn't like the art at all, but I bought two of them because there were some pretty decent cards in Vengolf, and I just wanted a complete set of the stones.
Yeah, it was where I bought those as well, and then the dual deck at the time was out, which I think is gonna be how the new starter decks are.
I think the starter decks are going to be a bit more successful because they're unique.
Well, they have a actually complete set of every single card in there, so you'll get four ofs of each.
So really quick with the starter decks, sorry to recap back on the roller thing. I remember us very distinctly complaining in podcasts like somewhere between the very first ones of the dual decks having cards that were only available in the dual deck. And we frowned upon that dramatically. You don't think that's going to be a problem this time?
I think
the fact that it's 4 of every card, and I only need to buy 1 of each.
But you can't get them in any other packaging. And they'll probably be sold out for months at a time. And new players, if a new player needs them, bust.
Can we just not super stock it?
I'm so for them.
So I my initial order of the last dual decks was 60 for the day, like week 1, and I was going to re-up from that later. Sold out before the week's end.
Dual decks? The
starters. The starter decks last time around. They sold out so
Those
fast.
weren't unique.
I know, they weren't unique, but people still wanted them. They weren't unique, you could get them in other things. Somehow they still sold out. So, a unique one that everybody wants one of each of them means that I have to order one set per player in my store, plus one per everybody that may or may not show up in my store. Mm-hmm. I'm just a simple guess here because Force of Will seems to have a hard time keeping up with demand like that sometimes, that this might be a very hard to keep in stock product and hard to find after the first month. And any new player coming in might have a next to impossible time getting these decks. That's my fear.
I think that is a very valid fear. But I am not a new player, and I know I'm going to be one of the first ones up to receive these 5 decks. So I am not in fear of this.
I mean, I think the reason why we hated the dual decks was because Lancelot's and Guinevere's were in there, and
they're
just such a necessary.
The cards were just way overpowered.
And you don't think that's going to happen this time?
We are told that it's not. I mean, by Jordan.
And Jordan still says that Lancelot was never a problem. He just gets mad that we all complain about it, and I kind of don't agree with that. But whatever.
I don't know. I'm not like that afraid of it. I'm just glad that they're expanding the card base.
Me too.
As a player, I can't quite see it from your eyes because I don't work here.
I just fear for some players a month out that want these and can't get them.
Yeah, no,
that's my only.
It's gonna be tough for anyone new coming in a month out for sure. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to kind of sympathize with that because whenever new players come in, I literally donate. I've donated Lancelot's, Guinevere's, Levitine's. I've donated staple cards to these players, and they don't come back after. I've given people both of my only Vlads, and I do not have Vlads anymore, and they don't come back.
I donate them. I let them borrow. I don't give it to them, so they have to come back and play.
I just kicked out my extras for free. Like, just take it. They're cheap anyways, and if you like the game, good on you. Like, come back.
I mean, that's kind of the same way I was going at it.
Well, either way, we'll see how that turns out. Maybe they can keep it in supply. Who knows? Any which way, the tournaments, cool decks that came out. We were all going to the PrideCon tournament coming up soon. If you guys want to cover on that a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, PrideCon got canceled, and the tournament got moved to San Diego, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And
I decided I did not want to drive to San Diego, which disbanded everybody else.
So, unfortunately, guys, if you're still going to that tournament, we won't be there anymore. So, sorry for anybody that was hopefully going to run into us. If any of you guys care.
Yes.
Well, I know we meet a few people at the time.
Cool.
Yeah, we still run into people.
People like me. They don't really like you guys too much.
No, I've had people walk up to me like, "Hey, I've seen you on the show. Patrick's great," but just walk right by.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I get it.
That's cool that people notice us in like AGPs and stuff, though.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see you after the first person came up to us. Jay, Patrick, we have fans.
People recognize us.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to do so many more videos. But
it's fun. It's really cool to hear from you guys whenever you guys do post down and below. Even if we don't get back to your questions immediately, we still read them and try to answer them in future podcasts, or a lot of times you will answer them directly.
I'm usually the one talking to them.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I still read everybody's stuff. I just read them on my phone, so it's hard to respond to them. And I appreciate when people like to talk to us and things like that. So definitely comment more down below, because we listen. We like talking about it.
Or you don't have to. You can just talk to me in person. Whatever's easiest.
Just give me your phone number.
Just call Patrick at this number on the side.
Hopefully it's
Patrick
not there.
is here for you.
What do you mean? I'm gonna flash it on there for like one frame.
One frame.
You guys have to search it out.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we won't be at the Pride Con. Unfortunately, yeah, that was canceled
Yeah,
for
it's a
unknown
bummer.
reasons necessarily. So back to building random other decks. I mean, I was kind of hoping to kind of play Kagi and get it on a tournament.
Oh, 3.0.
Yeah, before the
I
new
think she
sets
still
came
has a
out.
good shot.
She does, but it was a deck I've been piloting and wanting to actually get to a tournament that I missed. You guys got to go to a tournament not that long ago, so I mean, you guys aren't missing all that much.
I feel like the reason why she was good because you had access to dual stones when they weren't a thing.
Well, think of it this way. A lot of people are going to move to these dual stones, but she'll still have a very good access to Moon.
Yeah.
Which will give her a lot more opening to certain cards than other people if they're focused on using only the dual stones.
I guess she is like tri-colored if you consider Moon another color.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I mean,
it very validly is.
some very powerful cards rely on the Moon will.
Mhm.
So
Which is mostly Awakening,
Yeah.
which is Apollo. Like, a lot of people are running
Yeah.
Apollo.
that's true, but that's another card that they have to add into their deck just for helping out another card.
Which
You
is
can
really
kind of think of
cool.
it as a combo card.
Well,
I mean,
Ruler's Memoria doesn't produce Moon the same way that the other multicolored stones back in the past did.
Yeah. But I mean, Apollo is a great card. It bounces your things back to your hand, and I think it should be played even if you're not playing it for the moons, you know?
Huh.
It is a really good card, I'd have to agree, but giving a Ruler flying is a good way to save yourself in a lot of situations. But that being said, I know we're personally, now that our tournament season's kind of dying down a little bit, we're returning to the full New Frontiers tournament style here in our store personally. And I'm assuming a lot of other people, unless they have a tournament coming up, are probably going to try to explore more of the, what the card game has to offer, whether it's New Frontiers or just calling it, what's the continuous format? The Legacy format.
The Bifrost?
No.
Well, yeah, no, the actual.
The Wanderer.
Wanderer,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The Wanderer format is something I bet you a lot of people are going to start toying with it a lot now that we're getting closer to the World Cup or whatever you guys want to call it. Which
There's some crazy decks in New Frontiers already.
We have to watch the videos and get all of the smoothie challenges ready.
Oh
in
yeah,
order.
yeah. That's something to look forward to when the World Cup comes finally. We do have a little bit of information about that for people who are lucky enough to attend or has won a spot on their thing. Unfortunately, Cole was very close but missed. Our local player here by 2 seats.
Top 8.
He could have got this really awesome playmat that is now being shown to the side, which looks kind of interesting. It features both Alice and Alice. Sorry, Elis, and Lapis, which is a odd design, and they are. Apologize for me looking down at my phone real quick. Are giving to the 4th to 8th place. We'll get a non-sponsored invite to next year's WGP, which is kind of cool. If you got that far enough in the tournament, you actually get to come back next year. It's a good way to keep that coming. Whether or not they're able to afford to fly back to Japan, if they continue to hold these in Japan, who knows? It'd be interesting to see them play these in other countries as a traveling-esque type thing for the WGP, similar to how Wizards of the Coast does it. It's a good incentive, to keep going and keep coming back to those. 3rd place will receive a trophy and a non-sponsored invite as well. 2nd place, once again, a non-sponsored invite to the WGP with a trophy, but they get to have their likeness made into a promo card of their choosing.
That is so great.
Which is, we've seen some really cool promo cards so far, so that's really cool that they're going to keep doing that as well. As the 1st place, we'll have the trophy, a sponsored invite to the WGP, and will have their likeness made into a PR card as well. So they actually will get flown out to wherever it is, most likely Japan, since it's been there twice already. Which is, really cool to think that it's already its second year for the World GP, and they're already preparing for stuff for the third one. What do you guys think of the prize payouts?
Okay, well, I'm very excited about the promo card likeness. What card would you guys want to be in your likeness? If you could choose any card that is known.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
I want to make.
I was not prepared.
I would have to either be, if I had to choose a card in this cluster, it'd have to be Bidoof. Who buffs up. So, because I want to be like a common or an uncommon. Like I want to be like a card. Like that's just everywhere. Exactly.
If I could choose your card, I would choose Yamada.
Exactly. Then I was gonna say if I would just have a bunch of different faces, like a mean face, like a sexy face, like a Patrick face.
Oh man, that's a hell of a question. I really wish I had a really good answer for this one.
I want to be Mana Elf.
Just there at the staff, and just have a whatever. Is it
I mean, if we're going off of our favorite cards, I'm just gonna go gender bent and be feasting.
Yeah, you have to be feasting.
I'll just be feasting. I mean, I would probably look a lot better with,
Just face on feasting.
Just classy on top.
Feasting.
Full body everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, if we're going for something more like your likeness, you'd probably be Melder. You'd probably just be the last guy who's dead.
I was going for my favorite card. Come on. I mean, no matter what you choose, it'd be cool to have.
Just any card.
Yeah, any card as your.
It could be the derpiest card. What is the derpy? I guess fruit. Just be like, hey.
Your hands.
It's your hand. Just your hand. You'd see my wart. Like that's how you knew it would be.
I at least have some defining marks. So yeah, just holding fruit.
I have generic hands.
It'd be there. Wow, yeah, no, that would have been a fun way to leave off, but before we do, I did want to bring up one last thing. So, the only other thing that they announced was the loser bracket announcement. So I just had to bring that up real quick because that is entertaining to me that's a thing.
It's titled the loser bracket. On the site, titled the loser bracket. Pretty sure it's supposed to be called the consolation bracket, right?
Loser bracket.
We have to say what it means.
Yes.
But there's still crazy prizes for the loser bracket.
Top 8 event on Saturday. There will be a loser bracket who did not make top 8 on Saturday. Just in case you were wondering, what qualified as a loser. So the majority of you. This event is single elimination, Lapis cluster constructed. Players may choose
Lapis cluster.
Because the new set comes out.
So it's only going to be one.
Hold on. It says sorry. Lapis cluster constructed. Players may change their deck from the previous day event. This is not.
That must be a typo.
Yeah.
It can't. You're right. It can't be Lapis cluster constructed.
It would just be that one set, and that set would have come out in that week or something.
Yeah.
Because
it has to be a New Frontiers with Alice cluster through Lapis.
Well, this is in contrast with the top 8 who will not be allowed to change their decks from the previous day, which makes sense. I guess they have to continue that all the way through the next day. This might be a weird Lapis cluster event. This could be relevant.
Maybe.
I mean, we did hear that he wanted to do an all Lapis event.
Is the Lapis cluster going to be allowed in the WGP?
I don't know.
I imagine so.
That sounds really weird because they will have so little time to prepare for that, Like
the
these new cards are going to be released in that month or something.
They might get early access or something.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get previews and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Well, really quick before we get into the little nitty gritty of that, second and third place will get a non-sponsored trip back, and first place on the loser bracket will get to come back sponsored.
So
And don't they get a promo card too?
I was reading on there. I don't think they get a promo card.
They did.
If they did, that'd be awesome.
They did.
And no, they do not get a sponsor. Or they do not get a card. But that's still cool. They get to come back next year, which is maybe they won't be on losers.
First place of the losers bracket gets a paid trip, and not the actual second place person of the quote unquote winners bracket. That's astounding to me.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting way of doing that. But who knows? It's kind of cool that they're branching out above top 8 for stuff like that, since they're still not doing any paid payouts. But also, I believe that there's no entry fee to any of this, so it makes sense that they're not necessarily giving any cash. But
that's it, right? That's all the prizes.
Yeah,
you get a trophy and a card made into you. There's no cash.
Okay, first of all, I would be perfectly happy with just the card made after me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't need a trophy. I wouldn't need any.
But think about it. People are spending so much time and so much money to do this. People are actually paying for their tickets to Japan.
But they're not paying for.
Have you ever felt the thrill of competition before?
But for Magic, it's like a career. It's
right, but you also
this is too small.
Yeah, also
way too small to compare to Magic.
You pay for all of your entry fees to everything that you do for Magic and whatnot. It's a lot of these events are free when you're going to these bigger ones for Force of Will. Yes, you're traveling there, but you still have to travel to Magic as well. It's one of those things where right now it is a luxury to get to go to all these things. It isn't a career yet, that's true, but not a lot of people can really do that.
Comparatively to the other events, even Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, they still give money prize.
Well,
at the end.
So that's why all of the first place winners of all these smaller tournaments that we've been going to get sponsored flights there.
The people that have the full rights, they get free access into game shows. You know that, right?
Yeah, they get to go to
free
the
access
show,
to game
they
shows.
get the hotel, and they get a flight out there.
Yeah.
So you're pretty well off if you want.
I understand you're talking about the people who are paying to be there.
Yeah.
But
second, third place people.
That's on the heart of competition. You go there because you want to.
Vanguard, do they have prize payouts for their stuff?
Well, a lot of that's a little bit different.
I'm just thinking in the big idea, what's your incentive to do it besides the spirit of competition?
Not all Magic
to get my face on your
mana,
that's what.
A lot of Magic tournaments are you get 2 boxes or so for winning a tournament, and then you get to go to the Pro Tour. So not all Magic tournaments
are
paid out.
The Pro Tour gives a lot of money.
They give 40,000.
Yeah.
But still,
distributed amongst.
No, that's first place. It's $40,000, but then you got
Yeah.
That is nice, but it's not a luxury we can exactly afford just yet for Force of Will. And we'll get there eventually. Yeah.
These people are trying to build up their steam in order to be recognized.
Yeah. If I would have had an invite, I would have been there in a heartbeat. Just for a chance to go to Japan, play, and experience everything there.
I would pay for my own ticket just to come play because I like the game. But if I want to pursue this and spend so much of my time and effort and stuff like that, I would like to be compensated a bit more. It feels.
So
I don't think you can do that as a player.
I think what you're looking for is to go play poker. It's a great way to make a lot of money because even in Magic, it's not a feasible way to make a career out of it right now. They don't pay their players enough. Or possibly go play. Sorry for the really hot topic adventure we're going here, guys.
I think
but the only other game that seems to be supporting their pro players right now is Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So unless you're looking for those esport games, you really can't make a living off of paper card games right now.
Yeah.
Which would be nice to change in the future. But
those pro people living off of solely Magic are doing other things other than tournaments. They're writing articles. They're doing reviews. They're doing
a lot of work at shops.
Yeah. There's just
all of Channel. Look at Channel Fireball when you're looking at a Magic Pro team. Most of them work at Channel Fireball, and if they don't, they have very, very good careers outside of playing Magic professionally.
Yeah. It's just.
So eventually we'll probably get there, or we'll get something close to it. The only way that a paper card game could ever get that close is to bring on a sponsor. Which, eventually maybe that's what we'll see is sponsored teams coming up.
Ultra Pro, Ultimate Guard, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope card games get to that point.
Kind of adopt those other things. We'll see what happens when
in the future.
In the future. So, no real way to speculate outside that right now. Any which way, that's all that we got for you guys this week. Thank you all for joining us. As usual, I was Jay Phillips, your host.
I'm Don Bowie.
I'm Patrick.
Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.